Good evening, good evening. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good evening. Yes, so I haven't streamed since Tuesday. I was meant to schedule my stream for today. I didn't announce it because I wasn't quite sure about the timings, but here I am. I'm just getting my setup completely sorted. Trying to see if everything's okay. It's quite hot here. I'm just wondering if my computer's lagging. I'm not sure. All right, so it's going to be a short stream, obviously, because you can't quite see it, but the ocean's behind me. Let me see if that works. No, I can't see it. I can see the ocean there. All right, so I'm in sunny El Salvador. I'm going to do my stream for the first time outdoors while I'm here. And let's just go over Bitcoin. And then we'll go over TRVL and we'll go over QANX. And that will be the end of the stream. So let's have a look at these daily candles. I hope my computer survives because I can feel a little bit of lag. So we got a pretty bearish engulfing candle yesterday. Closed higher for an all-time high and then quick rejection back down to the range. Is a failed, looks like a failed auction. What's the volume like? It's pretty high volume sell-off. How does that look like on the weekly time frame? And the 3 daily time frame is looking pretty bearish too, and then on the weekly time frame it's looking like a classic rejection, isn't it? Like another swing failure of the previous all-time high. It's not looking good, huh? At the moment it's not looking good. Let's have a look at the monthly time frame. We're kind of there, aren't we? We're stuck a little bit. And so what happens next? Well, I still think 30,000 is 130,000 is possible, but obviously what's happened here is that you've taken the liquidity from the all-time high, failed to break out, and we've lost it for a swing failure. Just not enough market buying at the highs to push the price higher, and naturally you got a lot of selling into the highs to pull the price right back down, market selling. So this is looking pretty bearish right now. But we haven't come back to test that trend line. And we're coming back down to the value area low. So we have to see how that plays out. Let me just redo these this volume. We've washed the point of control, and that was not good. And then we're coming down to the value area low. So we're having a pretty hefty sell-off here right now. If that wasn't already obvious. And actually, look, the golden pocket lines up perfectly with the value area low. So it looks like we're coming in for some kind of back test here. The question is where exactly? Well, you have like a little ABC going on here, haven't you? So we can kind of draw that out from the all-time high. Yeah. I mean, there should be a reaction here from the value area low and the golden pocket, and it's close enough to this trend line. But the question is, do you get back above the point of control? Because you could reject there and go right back down. You know, that's always possible. So there should be a reaction here, but the question is now, because before we were looking at a bull flag, which broke out, and now we're experiencing a rejection at the highs, the all-time highs, for a failed auction. And that basically means we're still range bound. Effectively, we're still range bound. We're still bound by this range. At the moment, you've got the range low here, got the range high there, and that's basically your range at the moment. And actually, arguably, you could say the range low is probably would probably be a bit lower to there, but for all intents and purposes, that's the range low. And now we're just coming back in search of liquidity. Let me have a look at my levels here. I have single prints, MPOX. Higher time frame levels. Whatever is left. Yeah, we got some single prints slightly underneath the golden pocket. All the way down to the 786. Honestly, the 786 would be better. But not today. It would have to be like over the weekend. Not to lose this trend line again. But somehow, you know, just to kind of get really bearish here. Fill these gaps. Push down as hard as possible without meaningfully losing this breakout line. At the moment, the sell-off is pretty brutal, so I have to let that play out to see what happens. But ideally, we kind of the sell-off falls flat at the lows here, and then it comes into liquidity. I'm just thinking, even though you could get a reaction from, you should get a reaction from the value area low in the golden pocket there, and the reaction could be, you know, it could be bounce up and then down. I just think further down the 786 with this kind of intersecting trend line, with the single prints being filled here, would be better. It's like a better risk to reward here. Effectively, wait for the reaction. You want to basically take it back up to the value area high or the golden pocket of the down move. Obviously, you would love to target the highs, the all-time highs again. That's always possible, but that's the trade that's on my mind at the moment. That's a 1 to 9, 1 to 10 risk to reward ratio. Just off this kind of lower level here, the 786. If there's a reaction there, that would be nice. If you see this and it starts to kind of find support there, get a little reaction, a little market structure change on the 5-minute time frame. I think the reason why I'm thinking like that is because you have some kind of ABC going on here, and it comes in nicely at the 618 of this trend-based extension. You see, there to there to there. And even though we might not get an impulsive move, you could go up to the point of control and reject. It's still a nice trade if there's a reaction in this kind of area here. So it's food for thought. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So it looks pretty brutal, the sell-off. Let's have a look at the order flow. And see what the order flow is saying. Yeah, we're getting bearish CVD right now. You can see the highs are going lower and the CVD is going up. And it's looking pretty bearish. Big short there, huh? Look at that short. Bam. Shorts and longs. Actually, there's more longs in that candle, but still, it's pretty bearish. Yeah, actually there's quite a lot of longs. So actually that's really bearish, because look, the CVD went up and the price, the highs went lower. And see that? That's really bearish CVD there. That's a big, there's actually more longs in that candle. You see the dominant order size, it says plus 12 million. And you see the CVD went up a lot and it made a higher high, but the price went and made a lower high. It's pretty bearish there. So probably more downside here, just looking at this. We're underneath the VWAP, underneath the daily open. It's bearish, huh? It's a bearish day. Clearly bearish. And you just have to kind of pay attention to that and not try and long when it's looking bearish. So that's kind of Bitcoin for now. I think we're range bound. Obviously, it's never pleasant to see a failed auction of sorts, but at the same time, you know, we could be forming some kind of wedge, rising wedge of sorts. As long as you put in a higher low, we can go up and put in a higher high, higher lows, higher highs. It's still bullish in a sense, because even though, is that? Yeah. Because here you went and put in a lower low. High, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high, low, low. Okay, I guess the market structure has changed. That bearish engulfing is really kind of disastrous, to be honest with you. It's quite a high volume bearish engulfing. I mean, it is possible that we go up and, you know, like, and form a topping pattern here. And it's also possible that we go up and keep on grinding up. There's lots of possibilities here. Yeah. All right. I think that's Bitcoin. What else have I got on my cards today? Well, QANX. What's going on with QANX? Now, what was amazing about QANX was this cipher harmonic that I had mapped out. If you remember, the pivot I originally had was there, but the target was correct. And I actually posted that in my previous on X as it was happening. So if anyone was paying attention to my X profile, let me have a look. I'll go back to the post and I'll show you. So August 11th, quick update on QANX from here, video link below. And basically last week I was talking about a drop into this area. I was actually thinking it'll come later, but it doesn't really matter. It came in on time on the 618, and it came exactly to where I imagined, and that was in my previous week's video. And look at the reaction. I said immediately it was a really good reaction. And if you go to this, I've linked it directly to the timestamp, so you don't have to fast forward. And I go over briefly what I was looking at here and the reaction that I was looking at. Oh, my computer's frozen a little bit. The reaction that I was looking at. So you can go and have a look at that, and you can see what I've been doing on QANX. Had a really nice reaction. And generally with these cipher harmonics, you're looking at a retrace to the 50% mark. It actually went to the golden pocket. You see that? Yeah. It actually went all the way to the golden pocket for a rejection off the golden pocket. But you can see now that we've actually lost the 50% mark, which is the target, the original target, from a reaction here your target is the 50%. What does that mean? Does that mean this is going down or is this going up? Well, it means that the harmonic is played out correctly in that you had a reaction and you went up to the 50% mark of the harmonic, which is about, in this circumstance, is a 28% increase in value. Yeah. So that played out absolutely correctly. Now, with these harmonics, you don't need to have follow through. It could stay here and go up. Sure, it could. Or it could kind of go right back down. Yeah. There's no one can predict what's going to happen next based on this harmonic. Even though it's a bullish harmonic, it's already played out correctly because the reaction led to the target being hit. Okay. That's just a keen note to point out, just in case people think it's a bullish harmonic. This is going up. It's already done it. Okay. So I think I can get rid of that now because it's irrelevant. And when I look at the rest of QANX, let me go to the higher time frame. So last week was an interesting week because we had this really bearish weekly candle, but actually it's quite bullish, just simply because it closes within the previous candle low. And you have this really long buying tail, and also it's decreasing volume on these red candles. So it's actually quite a bullish candle, and we saw the reaction as a result of that bullish candle. You see this week, just from the close of that bullish candle, the price expanded up 21%. It's back down to 8%. And so it's quite important when you identify these candles, you know, that you can actually allow these candles to set your bias if you catch it on time. And so that's why I always look at weekly candles end of the week. Again, with this 3-day candle, look at that. That's actually a bullish. This is a bullish engulfing candle with really good volume. This one, it engulfs this red candle completely, and it's got increasing volume. So it's a really nice bullish candle that's played out after we had this sell-off. The sell-off failed to go lower than the range low. And so actually it was a really nice candle to buy. So what does that mean? Is this the first impulse? Are we impulsing? It's possible. As always, I say it's possible because until we get more information, it's hard to know if this is the impulse, if the impulse has begun, if this is the next move. Let me pull up my... Oh, I just realized that my charts, my stuff is a little bit messy here. So I have a lot of stuff here, so I don't actually know which one I'm... I don't know which one I'm looking at. Oh, amazing. I was looking at that idea. I wonder if we do go and get an inverse head and shoulders there. Let's see. So was that the first wave correction, and then this is the second wave, and we've just had wave one? That's the wave one. Is that the wave one? Yeah, it's possible. This is definitely possibly an impulsive wave. You see, it's quite impulsive buying. We need continuation now to confirm the idea of this buying. I would argue that all in all, QANX is still looking quite strong. And I would also argue that short of seeing heavy injection of volume, we're still going to be range bound. But if you look at this green volume on these candles, they're pretty nice. We're getting some nice green candle buys with volume, aren't we? You see that? So that's kind of what you want to see. Buying, market buying consistently, and that just keeps us in higher prices before we can actually get a nice breakout. And we will get eventually what will happen is we'll probably the price will end up probably squeezing until there is some kind of breakout, and it'll be pretty nice to break out on QANX because it's still quite a liquid. And so once you get a breakout, we should get quite impulsive moves to the upside. So I don't think anything's changed apart from that cipher harmonic playing out, to be honest with you. I think it's pretty standard. We have this trend line, which we have to break to move to the upside. Yeah. We haven't even hit it again. We have to hit it for another time. So that will probably offer us a little bit of resistance when we go up to hit it again. And ideally what you want is you want consolidation underneath resistance to break out into the higher prices. Ideally, that's what you want. Yeah. And the break has to be with volume. And so right now we're just kind of ranging still. You can see that we're still range bound. Well, that's quite interesting as well, that parallel channel that I had. I never really paid attention to it, but you look, it's quite interesting how we're hitting the underside of that and we're struggling to get back above it. I do wonder if there's something going on here where we've kind of lost this channel. We have to break back into the channel. I think nothing's changed. Nothing's changed really. It's just sideways motion, huh? It's not bearish. It's just accumulation. We're getting some nice market buys and the dips are being bought up, as you can see, with volume. And I think every dip right now is an opportunity to buy at discount. The swings are quite heavy, you know, like if you go down all the way down, it's like in a 20% price drop. And so naturally, a lot of people are looking for discounted accumulation. It's obvious. It's obvious. We're still in this local range. We're underneath the local point of control. So that's technically that's slightly bearish in this local range. But actually, look, the real point of control of this range is lower than this pivot. It is, I mean, again, it's possible to go down again to take that pivot, just to hit the point of control here to go back up. Everything's possible. And usually, you know, impulsive moves start from the lows, from pivot lows or significant lows. That could be it. That could be the pivot. We could consolidate here. I think like when you lose the range and you come back into the range and you have the range here, that's the range. Let's just say that was the range there. You kind of lost the range and you just came right back into the range. I think that's quite bullish, huh? Just to kind of find a really strong reaction from the bottom of the range, like a slight deviation, and you're back in the range. Yeah, so the price find it difficult to leave this range, and there was quite a nice impulsive buy up, and so you know you could get the same response. And so we're clearly not showing weakness here. This is not weakness. This is just accumulation, effectively, and consolidation. I think a lot of tokens collapse when Bitcoin hits all-time highs and rejects. And I see a QANX is not collapsing. It's just doing what it does, which is kind of continue the accumulation until we get something significant on the rest of crypto and Bitcoin, which is really what we need. We need something significant to allow for the transfer rotation of capital to altcoins. We haven't really had that moment yet. So anyway, this is quite interesting. We'll follow this. I don't really have any more insights, to be honest with you. I'm just looking at the different candles and charts. I'd like more volume, especially since we want to break out. I'd like to see more volume. You know, the problem with this is technically that could also be market structure change. It could be. You have like a higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low. That's the bearish. It went to a higher high straight away. So you're still in bearish market structure unless you can take out that high. So at the moment, this 12-hour time frame market structure is bearish, lower highs, lower lows. And so unless QANX can go up and take that high to change it to bullish, there is always a chance that we're just going to fall back to test that wick again. All right, that's kind of where we're at now. It's kind of range bound, but we're here trying to figure out what to do next. All right, let me see if there's any updates or news on the QANplatform X account. Anything new? It's the 15th of August. What is this? QANplatform enters the Latin American market through Sign Quantum and ITTI. Shortly after the announcement of QANplatform's latest use case, Sign Quantum, the world's first quantum resistance e-signature add-on, which utilizes the quantum resistance Quan blockchain platform. QANplatform's technology will enter the Latin American market through Sign Quantum and ITTI. So yeah, there is a use case here, isn't it? And you've got this Sign Quantum that's using the QANplatform blockchain to create quantum resistance e-signatures. Okay, and so there's quite a strong use case. They decided to just go straight with QANplatform and not bother with other blockchains. That's the latest news that has been announced here on the 12th of August. What did the price do on the 12th of August? Let's have a look. It went up a little bit, not much movement. It was the day before that you got the movement. Yeah. All right. So I guess there's not much insight except that we're still kind of here. And then we have to see where we go. Right. Any thoughts, any comments, any feedback, feel free to message me or like or comment. If you got any more info or news that I can announce, just share it. And I'm happy to do that. All right, so that's QANplatform. Any questions? I'm going to move on. And the last thing I'm going to look at is TRVL. So this is interesting, TRVL. So we have to talk about TRVL. We have to talk. And the main reason why we have to talk is because we had an announcement today on Telegram. Dun, 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 dun. Big announcement. Let me read the announcement for everyone. It is the first post by Cynthia in a long time. Cynthia has said, and she is the CEO. She is the CEO of D-Travel. Hey everyone, I wanted to share some changes happening at D-Travel. After a lot of very careful and long deliberation, I have decided to transition out of day-to-day leadership due to personal reasons that require my full attention. It hasn't been an easy decision, as working on D-Travel has been something I love and one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. The mission has been something I've always personally aligned very much with and continue to feel strongly about. TRVL Hodl, who many of you know, that's Eric, if anyone doesn't know him, will be stepping into the CEO role to lead the next phase of D-Travel's growth, which will be laser focused on growing host adoption, unlocking real travel utility, and creating more value for the community. Eric brings a wealth of experience on the short-term rental side, from working at companies like Verbo and NoiseAware, and has played an important role in driving D-Travel's strategic direction since the very early days. Most importantly, he's always shared the same passion and vision I have for D-Travel and the vision of a decentralized community-owned vacation rental ecosystem. Our mission remains the same: to build the most host-empowering, traveler-friendly, and ownership-aligned travel platform in the world. Like, oh my God, that's like the best thing that she has said forever. I'm gonna cut and paste that. It's been such a pleasure and honor getting to know so many of you in the community and to have so many people believe in the same vision. Thank you for all your support and continued support as D-Travel enters its next huge phase of growth, led by Eric and the rest of the team. Formal announcements will be released soon. For now, please welcome Eric to his new role. He and the team are here to answer any questions you may have. And wow, there's a lot of conversations going on here. Oh my God, lots of buying, selling. Yeah. Let's have a look. Buy. Good. We like buying. Buy. Oh, there's a lot of buying here. Oh, shit, me. What the hell? Lots of buying. I like to see buying. Oh, I like this. Andrea said something really nice about me. Amir is one of our most loyal community members and a strong voice within the team and hosts, which we value a lot. I'm sure he will be one of thousands that will talk about D-Travel's updates, innovations, and transformative approaches in the rental industry. It's just a time thing. Yes, that's just a time thing. Yes. Thank you. I love that. Thank you, Andrea. What else is there here that seems interesting? Sam says something. So over the last 90 or so days, why did the D-Travel treasury transfer to multiple wallets? Millions of TRVL, some of which are now selling and hence dumping the price. And NSAV says, good spot, Sam. Yes, please provide clarity. Seems conveniently timed with the market finally rising. I'm going to have a look at the price action, aren't I? That's what I always do after I look at all of these messages. Oh, James has said something. Oh, he's just forwarded Cynthia's message. Harry is saying something here. So this is Eric. This is our new CEO. Thank you, Cynthia. I know this wasn't an easy decision, and we all greatly appreciate everything you've done to get D-Travel to this point. For those I haven't met yet, I'm Eric Pace. I've been working behind the scenes at D-Travel since the earliest days. I am both grateful and excited to take on this role, and I want to share a few reasons why. First, a quick note on tokens movement some of you flagged. A private OTC investment matured recently and will release the tokens per the original agreement. The investor appears to have sold after learning about the leadership transition. Unfortunate timing, but ultimately a one-time event that clears the deck. We will not be doing any more pure OTC deals, token deals going forward. I've reached out to the investor to introduce myself and share more about our team's conviction and recent progress, and I wouldn't be surprised if they buy back in on the open market. The good news is that no one from the core team is selling. We're here because we believe in what we're building, and we know the best is still ahead. I agree with that 100%. And here he says some more. So why I'm excited to take on this role, here are just a few reasons that stand out. When a founder decides to transition, it can create uncertainty, and things can easily fall apart. It happens all the time with startups. Yeah, our team has been incredibly focused and resilient. We haven't skipped a beat, and things are ramping up. Huge shout out to Quinn, James, Ty, and Andrea for their leadership during this transition. I can't say enough about the quality of this team, many of which are invisible to the public, but share our passion. We also have a core community of believers like Beard Prince, that's me, Harry, Jack, and Sam, numerous customers that donate their time to help improve the product, and several of our advisors who've all stayed committed even through the bear market, offering time, insight, and conviction. Beard Prince and other customers have even hosted me and my family to help support D-Travel. That's true. Thank you. I'm especially excited about the foundation we've built for property owners, managers, and operators. This part of the product is on the cusp of major growth. The most rewarding aspect of this work is helping small hospitality businesses gain more control over their brand and business. SMBs are the growth engine of the global economy, and what better mission than helping them thrive? I'm equally excited to bring the same sense of ownership to travelers, the customers of those small businesses. That's our next big focus, and this is a pivotal moment for D-Travel. But as Cynthia said, our mission remains the same: to build the most host empowering, traveler friendly, and ownership aligned travel platform in the world. As part of the next chapter, we're forming a new US operating entity, giving us more flexibility to work with strategic partners like Coinbase, releasing our SaaS premium features to operators, and launching traveler focused initiatives that we can't wait to share. I'll be around to answer questions today and over the weekend about myself, the transition, or anything else that's in your mind. On Monday, we shift gears and get back to work. There are big things ahead. I'm fired up to build this next chapter with all of you. Yes, amazing. Thank you. All right, so that's the latest announcement, right? That's the big news. And so let's have a look at the charts and see how that's reflected in the price action. And so I think what people have to understand is that while TRVL can sometimes feel independent from the rest of crypto, the reality is that TRVL is not independent from the rest of crypto. Bitcoin is the tide that rises all boats, and Bitcoin is the tide that collapses all boats. Yeah. So when you're going to get an auction, a failed auction on Bitcoin from all-time highs, that's naturally going to reflect in the rest of crypto. Naturally, you can't avoid it. Yeah. And most tokens, when they get these kind of opportunities, they're buy the dip opportunities. Yeah. So in the same sense, I would argue that this is a buy the dip opportunity. Yeah. But the problem is, do you just buy now, try and catch a falling knife, or do you wait for the price to settle? And if anyone's ever watched my streams, I always say, wait for the price to settle. Don't try to catch a falling knife, because we don't know if this is the bottom, or if this is looking to go lower. We just don't know where this is going to bottom out, because we've clearly had a rejection. But on this combined chart, and it's quite interesting because on this combined chart, it looks like we've taken out the weekly high, doesn't it? But there's a caveat to that. It's not happened on every exchange, and I'm going to go through the exchanges. This is Bybit, and you see on Bybit we haven't taken out the high, have we? So it's still a lower high. This is KuCoin, and KuCoin we've taken out the high. On Gate we've taken out the high, and on MEXC we've taken out the high. So we've taken out the high on 3 exchanges, but not the 4th one, which is Bybit. 3 out of 4. Is that enough? I hope so. Huh? I would argue yes, but I would have obviously been a lot happier if we took out the weekly high on all the exchanges at the same time, not just 3 out of 4 of the major exchanges. And actually what I really wanted to do is I just wanted to have a look at the Bybit volume to just determine which exchange had the most volume. I just want to have a look at the volume here. So that push up was 21 million. 21 million. That was, oh, there you go. So KuCoin had 58 million. So KuCoin had more volume than Bybit, like twice the volume. Gate had 19 million, slightly lower than Bybit. And that's MEXC had about 20 million. So Bybit was the second highest at 21 million, but it was basically neck and neck with Gate and MEXC, while KuCoin was leading the pack with a 58 million volume on that 3-daily candle, which took us to take out that high. So based on that, I would argue that yes, that high is taken. I would say that just based on that, just because most of the volume was on KuCoin, and KuCoin did take out that weekly high, I would argue that we have actually now officially changed market structure. Yeah. And I've talked a lot about market structure on TRVL. Now I'll tell you again, this is what I'm expecting. Okay. So as the price was dropping, we were putting lower highs and lower lows, weren't we? Yeah. Until finally we went for a higher high. Then we had a higher low. And now we've just put in a higher high again. Yeah. And when you get a second higher high, that is a confirmation of market structure. And so effectively you're going from a lower low here to a higher high to the first higher low. That's a higher low. And you only know if that's a higher low until we take out the high with another higher high. Effectively what the market is saying is there's not enough sell pressure to put in a new low, but there is enough buy pressure to take out the highs. So the structure changes now. Instead of putting in lower lows and lower highs, we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. Yeah. We just have to keep higher lows now. And so right now, as long as we keep on putting in higher lows, we should be continuing with a bullish structure here. Now, ideally, we don't want to go down too low. We kind of want the price to be around here. The problem is the lower you go, even if you put in a higher low there, even if you put in a lower low and do a V-shaped recovery, the problem is that you're starting to create pump and dump harmonics, which we don't want to see, because we're still, if you go down there and then go up there, you'll get a sell-off again and you're still stuck. So even though you have bullish market structure, what you end up doing is creating a bear flag, and that's not what we want to do. We don't want to create a bear flag in this range, which seems really bullish, but actually it's quite bearish. It feels bullish because you're putting in higher highs and higher lows, but it's actually quite bearish because we're stuck here for a long period of time, and then eventually what happens is that the last time we just can't take out the high, and then you take out the lows, and then it just starts to go down even further. And we don't want to be in that situation. I don't think we are, but I just want to make you aware that that's what can happen in these circumstances. So we've got a really clear rejection, but we have taken out the high, so we're in bullish market structure. I think in that circumstance, I think just let the price settle to buy back in if people have sold, or if people have skimmed out. We're still above the point of control of this local range. We're back into the value area, so we haven't been able to flip the value area into support. That's what you would want to see for continuation. So we're not going to get continuation just yet, just because we've fallen back into the value area. But hopefully we can find support here somewhere for another attempt at the highs, to keep on putting in high highs. Right now, the best place to buy will be the golden pocket area at the point of control area, somewhere between 0.0076 and 0.0072. That's probably the best area to buy in from the current price, which is about 12 to 13% lower than where we are. The problem is that when you get this violent sell-offs, and we know why we had these sell-offs. There was a leadership announcement was changed, and it was announced, change was announced, and a couple of long-term investors decided to exit. Okay, that's all it really was. It's not the market selling. It's just a couple of whales basically dumping their tokens. Again, this is an opportunity for anyone who hasn't accumulated or hasn't bought into TRVL. This is a real opportunity to buy at discount prices after a confirmed market structure change, and maybe the same investors will buy back in because they can get it at 20% cheaper than they originally sold. And if I was them, I probably would. I'd probably wait for it to settle and buy right back in. That being said, I would like the price to kind of settle here for an attempt, which I was talking about. If you remember, I was talking about an inverse head and shoulders. That's your head, and this is your right shoulder. So this is what this is what I've been talking about from the beginning of July the 6th when I started streaming. The idea of an inverse head and shoulders with a complicated head, a two-pronged head We've now taken out the neckline. We've now changed market structure. What I want to see now is a really slight shoulder for another breakout, and then we can have a really nice inverse head and shoulders breakout. And then if we do get that kind of breakout, I'll be looking for the same distance basically as the neckline, all the way up to 3 cents on a breakout, right back into the original range. That would be like the real that would be the target for that inverse head and shoulders breakout, back into the range, back into the 2 cents range. That would be really bullish. It could still be bearish because you could still be putting in lower highs, but that would be a really good kind of exit point for a lot of people who've been holding these lows, with the view of reaccumulating back into this range. And then the reaccumulation would be to defend 2 cents if possible. And ideally, that's what you want. You don't really want to go low. If you start going lower, then obviously everything changes again because the range changes. Okay. But in this move, I'm kind of thinking to myself, if we could break out put in a right shoulder here and break out of an inverse head and shoulders to higher prices back into that overall range. That's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. And we just have to see what happens next. Let's have a look at the different candles. Let's have a look at the monthly candle. So already we've nearly had as much volume as the previous month, as you can see. It's looking to be a green candle. I hope it's green because that would confirm the reversal. We don't want a red candle. We really want a green candle here. And yeah, the weekly looks like a rejection here, but let's see how this plays out, because we don't know how this weekly red candle is going to end. Arguably, if it closes red like that, but it's kind of like that, it could still be good. I really want this weekly candle to close above the previous week 50 fib. For me, that would be okay. Any close above the previous week 50 fib would be okay. It'd still be quite bullish to do that. It would be a bearish candle with a bullish close. If we start drooping and closing much lower, like down there, then we are looking at a weekly reversal, and we may end up going lower to go higher. And we don't know how this is going to play out. So let's just see what happens this weekend with Bitcoin and crypto, and how this plays out. It doesn't look like it wants to go down anymore. I think a lot of people, actually, to be honest with you, I think the leadership change is really bullish news, because guess what? And not to be critical of one person in particular, but during the whole leadership of the previous regime, we've only gone down and down and down. You can see down and down and down and down. Yeah. And now we've got leadership change. We're expecting some other changes, aren't we? We're expecting this whole pattern to change. There's a big shift in TRVL and D Travel right now, and the leadership is a really important part of that. I know Eric personally and his family. He's come to London and stayed at my properties. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better leader at this time. Extremely hardworking, very, very, very smart and visionary about the future. Crypto expert. He knows almost everything about crypto, and also he knows almost everything about the short-term vacation rental industry. Literally the right person at the right time, with a lot of energy, ready to take this to where we want it to be. I've talked to Eric personally so many times, and honestly, we're looking at all-time highs. We are literally, that's the only conversation we have when him and I speak. How to get the price of TRVL to $1.56. That's really what we're aiming for. You know, like, we're on the same page and on the same mission for what we need to achieve. So let's see what happens. All right. I don't have anything else to say about TRVL except waiting for the price to settle, and maybe we're just forming a right shoulder here after we change market structure on the weekly time frame, Once we form our right shoulder, we can get a really nice buyback, and then we can really push the price to 3 cents. Really, that's where I'm aiming for, 3.1 cents from the current price. That would be a 300, maybe a 350% increase in value. That's kind of where my mind is at right now, unless we see something that changes that. I think that's the highest probability scenario, and it takes time sometimes with TRVL to play out. Right now, this 3 monthly candle is starting to look extremely bullish. Increasing volume green candle. We've already gone up to clear the liquidity. It's being sold into however this candle ends up. It's looking to be really bullish. It can either end up as an inverse hammer, or it can end up as a piercing candle, or it could end up as a bullish engulfing candle. It's looking really bullish, this 3 monthly candle. And so I just want to make you aware of it. We've got 1 month and 16 days to go. Yeah, so we still have time, and hopefully we can get higher prices and continuation. Let's have a look at this monthly candle. Again, with this monthly candle, I want there's 16 days there. There's still 2 weeks to go. I do want it to be green. That's all. That's the only condition. I just want it to be green. And maybe we will see green, because at the moment, if this price holds on this weekly candle, it's not looking bearish. It'll get more bearish if we start going lower, but let's see what happens. Hopefully people are sending limit orders to absorb the selling. All right, that's my TRVL update. If you like the video and you've liked my content, hopefully subscribe or share or like or comment. And I'll be doing TRVL again on Sunday, and then Tuesdays, and then Fridays. I'll try and announce it next time. I've been a little bit busy here in El Salvador. I'm just settling into El Salvador again, and I'm here on a mission to expand the D-Travel network to El Salvador, and this is what I'm focused on right now. All right, so hopefully have a wonderful day, have a wonderful weekend, and let's just quickly have a look at Bitcoin before we log off, to see what Bitcoin is doing. Yeah, Bitcoin is looking miserable right now. Let's have a look at the order flow. Oh, we're getting really bearish CVD here. Look, the CVD is going high. The lower highs on the price. This is really bearish, yeah? Bitcoin's looking really bearish. So I just want to make you aware of that, yeah? So not financial advice, but it's looking pretty bearish, right? So that's it for today, and then I'll see you on Sunday. Have a good weekend.